Hi, welcome to or welcome back to my channel. My name is Laura. Hi, hello, welcome. Today we are going to do a really exciting video. I am going to rank all of my Juvia's Place eyeshadow palettes, and I have 8 stacked in front of me from like honorable mention because you can't get it anymore to like the best that I have. I want to preface this by just saying I love all of these eyeshadow palettes. If I didn't like them or the formula, I would be decluttering them in some form or fashion. I do try to get the most of my products, no matter if I like it or not. It's just kind of like in my nature. But for the most part, all of these Juvia's Place, first of all, Juvia's Place has one of my favorite eyeshadow formulas. I think the mattes are very nice. I think the shimmers are insane. And for the price point, I don't think you can go wrong with how affordable these are for that kind of quality that you're getting in these. Before we get into this video, please make sure to hit the subscribe button. It does help me out. And then if you have any recommendations on Juvia's Place palettes, if you see anything here that you like, or if you want to see any future videos with any of these palettes, let me know in the comment section down below. I would love to do more videos using my Juvia's Place eyeshadow palettes. These are some of my all-time favorite palettes. All-time favorite formula. It's definitely top 3 of my favorite formulas of eyeshadow. And let's just start talking about these eyeshadow palettes. I wanted to kick off this video with a palette that's discontinued, and it's not necessarily ranking at the bottom, but since it's discontinued, I wouldn't really recommend it because you obviously cannot get it. And that is the 𝙗𝙬𝙨 palette by Juvia's Place. This palette is so beautiful. Honestly, I would probably rate this in my top 3 of my Juvia's Place palettes. Just something about this color story is so beautiful. This green is by far my favorite shade. I am always drawn to shades like this. This like pinky purple, and then this shade is a duochrome. It is so amazing. So I don't know if you'll be able to see, the lighting is not the best today. It's like super vibrant today. Wow. I don't know if it's going to pick up in person or in the video, but in person it's definitely like white with that like super pink shift to it. Really beautiful. Really love this palette. I'm bummed you can't get your hands on it. If you have it, show this palette some more love because you can't get it anymore. I guess what I would consider ranked the lowest, so this one's just kind of an honorable mention because you can't get it anymore, but it would rank higher than where it is in this video technically. So the lowest that I would consider, definitely underneath the 𝙗𝙬𝙨 palette because I think that one's beautiful, is my Warrior 2, the Warrior 2 by Juvia's Place. So there's nothing wrong with the formula of this. I just simply don't reach for an all matte palette too often. So I mean, it's virtually untouched. You can, I think, maybe see some disruption in this pan, but it goes underutilized in my collection quite a bit because I just don't reach for an all matte look. And I kind of bought this because I have an all shimmer palette by Urban Decay. I have the heavy metals, and I wanted something that I could wear with it and pair with it. And I don't reach for that palette all too often. I think the packaging is awful. So I think that's why I don't use this one that much. So it does rank the lowest because I just don't reach for it. The next lowest, I think, is going to surprise people because I feel like people love this palette, and it's not because of the formula. Again, I think it's beautiful, but I think it's just because of the color story, and that is my Nubian. That is my Nubian palette by Juvia's Place. So this is this guy here. It's a beautiful neutrals palette. My favorite shade is actually this one. It's like oh my gosh, I don't even know how to describe it. It's so pretty. It's almost like a flaky shimmer. So it's just beautiful. It's so reflective and metallic. I love this shade. This one, again, is like one of those duochrome kind of shifty shades. It like shifts gold to pink. So really beautiful palette. I think this is pretty dark for a like everyday neutral for me. Predominantly my like everyday kind of shades would be up here, but I do like everything in this palette. I think if you're looking for bronzy shades, this is beautiful. This might also be, if you've been pining after the Natasha Denona bronze palette, which I have not been, this could be a good option because one, it's way more affordable and you get a lot of the same shades. I think if you were pining after that Natasha Denona one, get yourself the Nubian by Juvia's Place. This formula is amazing. I think that the Juvia's Place shimmer formula is way better than the Natasha Denona one, personally. So the next palette I have is going to be my Zulu palette, and I love this palette. I think, again, I think the colors are beautiful. I think there's nothing wrong with it. I don't reach for this one. I was kind of looking through the other palettes, and this is just one that I don't reach for enough. And I think that's because this shade, it's beautiful. I love this shade, but it just kind of throws me off, like with everything else. It's a little bit more difficult to get just like one cohesive look out of this palette, whereas I think some of the other palettes have more shades that blend with each other rather than this one. Nothing wrong with it. Beautiful palette. The fourth palette, I kind of was a toss-up between my larger Juvia's Place palettes, and this one just fell a little bit short of the other one, and that is my Masquerade palette. And again, nothing wrong with it. I did get the big size of this one and the Magic palette, so I have like the full giant size. I don't believe they had the minis when I bought these, but also like in my brain years ago, I was like, more is more, more bang for your buck. I have the Masquerade, and again, I think these shades are like things that I'm always drawn to, especially this like beautiful blue. I am always drawn to shades like this. It's just so stunning, like the stinking ocean in the Caribbean. But I just don't use this palette a lot. And I think that's why, is because I love these, and these are great pops of color, but these neutrals kind of just don't, they're like one trick pony, and then these are kind of like their own thing. I did just use this in my palette bingo, or my multi-palette bingo with Juvia's Place. So that was utilized in there. I love this palette though. I wouldn't get rid of it ever. Like, I wouldn't get rid of any of these palettes. If you like more jewel tones, I think this one would be better. And then number 3 is the other big boy that I have, and that is the Magic palette by Juvia's Place. And I think the reason I've marked this one higher than the other one is because I think that there's just more wearable shimmers that aren't super dark. Now, I think all eyeshadow is wearable, don't get me wrong, but I think for my personal tastes, I think stuff like this, like lighter shade, even like how stunning this gold is, this is my favorite shade in the palette, just a beautiful purple. I think that these are more wearable, more versatile, and I think create more fun dimensional looks using this palette rather than my Masquerade palette, which is why this one ranks a little bit higher in the palettes that I have by Juvia's Place. Then moving on to my top 2 palettes, the Saharan 2 is the number 2 slot in my Juvia's Place palettes, and I think the reason for that isn't necessarily the mattes. I don't think the mattes really go with the rest of the palette, but that's not why I reach into this palette at all. I reach into this palette for a few shades in particular. First of all, this beautiful, this is my favorite shade like of all time. It's just like a super light minty teal, and it's so gorgeous. Like that shade, gosh, I'm pointing with the wrong hand. That shade is just everything I ever want. And then there's something about these top 2, absolutely gorgeous. There's just something about how stunning this gold shade is. It has, in person, it's a lot more like orange and dimensional than it's picking up on camera. I think it looks a little bit more white on camera, but that orange shade, I get so many looks out of these 2 in particular, especially paired together. And I think that this is like one of my favorite eye colors that I wear are these kinds on my eyes. And then you can put a pop of blue with it and it just looks beautiful. And I love it. I love this palette. The mattes, they aren't really true to color in the pan. I think they definitely read a bit different. So those guys there versus that, especially this shade there, I think it's a lot lighter than what you get in the pan. But yeah, I love this palette. I think that it's absolutely stunning. And my number 1 palette, I did a 3 looks 1 palette on it, and that is my Saharan 1, the original Saharan palette by Juvia's Place. Particularly, the reason why this one ranks number 1 is this shade, 𝙁𝙗𝙗𝙑𝙨. This shade is everything I want in an eyeshadow. It is so beautiful. It's like a dirty gold. It's almost olivey. It's so beautiful. Every time I wear it, I just feel so confident, and I love the looks that I always use when I use it. It is just by far just such, it's like a brassy gold, and it's so pretty. I love it. I love it mixed with this shade. I think they have very staple mattes. I think the only shade that confuses me in this palette is Kia. This one, just because I don't think it jives with the rest of the palette, but the shade I could just do without, and that's fine. It makes a gorgeous liner though, but this palette, I love it. This is my favorite palette of Juvia's Place. It's definitely top 5. I don't know where I ranked it in my, if I could only keep 10, but this is definitely one of them, and I definitely love it. It is so stunning. I love this. Love this. So that is it. That is my ranking all of my Juvia's Place eyeshadow palettes, with the honorable mention of the discontinued 𝙁𝙨 palette. And there's definitely part of me that wants more of the palettes. Is it the Tribe? The Tribe 3, the green palette, the Nomad palette. Oh my gosh, with those mustardy fall tones. I definitely want those and have been eyeing those ones, but I have so much eyeshadow. It's unbelievable. So I need to use some of these shades up on Juvia's Place. Again, this is the brand that I have the most of. I definitely have the most palettes from Juvia's Place, and I wouldn't change it in the world. I think that these palettes are beautiful. I think they're affordable, and I think the quality is there. I think it's top notch, especially for the price point. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to see any other ranking videos, I will link my makeup inventory in the cards and in the description box. You can let me know if there's any brands or if there's any specific categories of ranking that you would like to see. I eventually want to do this with my whole collection. But yeah, that is it. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I will see you in Sunday's video. Bye!